Hey kids, hope you're enjoying your time at home. Now, with the same excitement and enjoyment, shall we learn today's lesson? So, now, why do we start this lesson with a question? Because we are going to play a game wherein I'll tell the characteristics of a certain person and you'll find who they are. Are you ready? Okay, now. So, let me tell you the first thing about the person. They are a group of people. So, shall we get into the clues? So, they are everywhere around you. You can find them almost everywhere. No guesses? Okay, let's move on to the second clue. You need passports and tickets that cost so much to fly in the air, right? But they do not require anything to fly, just their will and strength. Now, have you guessed them? Yes, you are absolutely right. They are birds who are always around us. So in this chapter 4, we are going to learn about birds. Where do you find birds? You find them everywhere, right? There are several types of birds and you see almost at least one bird every day. Am I right? So isn't it necessary to learn about them, to understand them and how their body works? So to know all about that, let's get into the lesson. What are we going to learn in this lesson? So there are some pictures which will explain you that. First, we are going to learn what are birds, and then can you see the picture? What are there? They are the feathers, the different type of feathers. And the next picture, it shows the types of beaks of the birds. And then we find the legs of the birds. And after that, we have the habitat, that is the nest of the birds. Okay, so are you clear? Today we are going to learn about all these things. So shall we do a recap of what we are going to do in this lesson? First, we are going to learn how does a bird fly. The next thing, what helps them to fly? Their feathers. So we are going to learn about their feathers. They have to live to eat, right? They have to eat to live, right? So we have to learn about the different kinds of beaks they have. Then they need feet and claws to move from one place to another on land, right? So that's the next thing we are going to learn about. And they also have homes. So nesting is the last thing we are going to learn about in the lesson.
Hey, what are you doing here? I'm also here for a vacation. Oh, good. Wow, see the birds over there. Yeah, they look great. I like birds a lot. Me too. I love birds. Birds are beautiful feathered animals. Our world has a variety of birds, but all of them have some common features. All the birds have one beak, two eyes, two wings, two legs with claws on each foot, and their bodies are covered with feathers. Birds have hollow bones which help them to fly. There are a lot of amazing facts about birds. Wow, you are very good at this, Lucy. Can you explain me more about birds? Of course, it's my pleasure and I enjoy doing it. Let's start with a question that how does a bird fly? We may have this type of question a lot of time when we see birds flying. When a bird gets ready to fly, it flaps its wings to push through the air and rises up slowly into the air. Its light body helps it to take off easily. The tail of a bird helps it to change its direction while flying. A bird does not fly by simply flapping its wings up and down. The wings have two types of movement. Wow, what are the two types of movements, Lucy? The two types are downstroke and upstroke. Downstroke is also known as power stroke. The wings move downward and forward. This stroke produces lift and thrust. The second one is upstroke. It is also called as recovery stroke. The wings move upward and backward. This stroke slows the bird down. Okay, and what about the feathers? Feathers are the most unique feature of a bird. They help the bird to fly, keep the body warm, and give it shape. Feathers are of three types: flight feathers, body feathers, and down feathers. And they do have different kinds of beaks. Each one of them are unique in each other. Birds do not have teeth. They eat with their beaks. But all birds don't eat the same kind of food. Therefore, they have different kinds of beaks suit the type of the food which they eat. You can ask me about any type of bird's beak. I have wondered, how does the parrot's beak be like? Can you explain me that? Yes, the birds like parrots, have curved beaks. It helps them to crack nuts and hard seeds. That's what they eat. The curved beak also helps them to eat even hard and unripe fruits such as mangoes, apples, and guavas. Wow, look at that eagle. I have a doubt. What does that bird do with its beak? The eagles have strong, sharp, and hooked beak. Not only eagles, vultures, kites, owls, and hawks are birds of prey. They eat small animals like chicks, mice, frogs, and snakes. They have strong, sharp, and hooked beaks to kill their prey and tear its body into tiny pieces. Oh, see the swallow there. Wow, it looks pretty good. Do you know that swallows have broad and short beak? Because their mouth is very sticky from inside. The swallow goes round in the air keeping their beaks open. They catch tiny flying insects and flies which stick inside their mouth while flying. That's why they have a short and broad beak. And what about the birds which have long and pointed beak? Birds like kingfishers and storks have broad, long and pointed beaks. The beak helps them to catch fish from the river and ponds for their food. A sunbird also has long and pointed beak. Its beak is thin and it helps to suck nectar or juice from the fruits and flowers. Wow, look at the little sparrow. It looks cute, but did you see the feet and claws of that? The size and shape of the feet and claws of birds differ greatly. The claws of a bird helps it to walk, swim, and climb. Wow, can you say more about this? Yes, the bird which we saw now is a sparrow, right? Sparrows, mynas, and crows sit on trees and wires by cribbing the branch of wire. This is called because the back toe is used like our thumb. There are a lot of types of birds, like climbing birds, flesh-eating birds, scratching birds, waddling birds, and swimming birds. How do birds build their nest? Birds build nests to lay eggs. They choose places which are safe from enemies and bad weather. They use twigs, grass, feathers, cotton, wool, leaves, and sometimes even mud to build their nest. They build it even perfect than we humans build. Different birds make different kinds of nests. A woodpecker makes a hole in a tree with its beak. The eagle and the vulture make nests by gathering a few sticks and simply put them together in the shape of a shallow cup. The weaver bird uses grass, twigs, leaves to weave a nest with its beak. A tailor bird stitches two broad leaves together to make its nest. Likewise, different birds make different kinds of nests. Birds are so amazing, right? Wow, that was great. You are right.
The first topic, how does a bird fly? The tail of a bird helps it to change its direction while flying. We all know that they use feathers to fly. They move their feathers up and down to fly, but the tail helps them as a steering wheel to change the direction while flying. There are two types of movement while they fly. One is downstroke, the other one is upstroke. Downstroke is also called as power stroke. In this stroke, the wings are facing downwards and forward. So this helps the bird to move forward. In the upstroke, the wings are facing upwards and backwards. This helps the birds to slow down their pace. So, what are the wings made up of? They are made up of feathers. We have seen very colorful feathers, right? Have you ever seen the feather of a peacock? Wow, how vibrant they are, right? So, shall we learn about the feathers? Feathers are the most unique feature of a bird. We couldn't agree more, right? They help the bird to fly, keep the body warm, and give its shape. So these two are new information, right? They give the body the warmth they need and they give the body its shape. There are three types of feathers. What are they? The flight feathers, which are there in the wings that helps them to fly. The second one is the body feathers that covers their body and gives its heat. And the third one is the down feathers, which are very close to the skin. You know, our mothers will be cooking chicken at homes, right? And the chickens we grow at homes. Have you ever seen your mother cleaning the chicken? They'll pluck out all the feathers, and that time if you see, you can witness all these flight feathers, body feathers and down feathers. So first thing is flight feathers. Flight feathers. The long flat feathers attached to the wing and the tail helps the bird to fly. So the flight feathers are located at the wing and the tail. They also help birds to lift themselves and balance for flight. The birds have hollow bones that are very light bones that helps them to float in the air. But the feathers are very light and it helps them to lift the birds and balance themselves. And the next is body feathers. It's cover the body, wings and the tail of the bird. So it is present in the body, wings and the tail of the bird. They give a smooth shape to the bird's body. If you pluck out the feathers, how will the birds look? It's very hard to imagine, right? So the feathers make them look very beautiful. And then comes the down feathers. Down feathers are located close to the body underneath the body feathers. These are short and soft feathers and help to keep the bird warm. So what do? They keep them warm. Okay, now that we are done about the feathers, we are moving on to different kinds of beaks. We all know birds do not have teeth like us. So what do? They eat with their beaks. So the beaks of the birds are their teeth. The first type of beak, strong, sharp and hooked beak. What do you mean by hooked? It's like a hook. It's like little bit curved but not entirely curved. Okay, if you see the beaks of the eagles, vultures, kites, owls and hawks, they are the birds of prey. That means they eat other animals, small animals like chicken, mice to feed themselves. So they need to, tear open the flesh. Hence, they have very strong, sharp and hooked beaks. See, in this picture, are you able to see the beak is slightly curved but not entirely curved, right? So let's move on to the next type of beak. The next type of beak is strong, hard and horny beak. Birds like sparrows, pigeons and finches have strong, hard and horny beaks. Their beaks help them to crush grains and seeds they eat. So what do sparrows and pigeons eat? You throw rices, wheat, et al. To the birds, right? They crush the seeds and grains and then eat. For that, they need strong, hard and horny beak. The next type of beak is curved beak. Birds like parrots have curved beaks. We all have seen parrots, right? So they have, see, the beaks are entirely curved in the picture. It helps them to crack nuts and hard seeds. They eat seeds and nuts. Mostly parrots live in trees, right? Many birds live in trees. Parrots, they feed from the fruits of the trees. The curved beak also helps them to dig into the fruits, even hard fruits, that is unripe fruits. Okay. The next type of beak, strong and chisel shaped beak. Birds like woodpecker have beaks shaped much like chisels. So you see the beak of this bird, it's like a chisel. They use them to cut holes in trees for their nests. What is a woodpecker? Have you seen in movies or any videos, the woodpecker will be sitting at a tree and it will be pecking tuck, 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 tuck. Have you ever heard that sound? It will, peck wood and make a hole in it. Broad and short beak. Swallows have broad and short beaks. How does the beak look like? Broad and short. They catch tiny flying insects and flies which stick inside the mouth while flying. So they catch the tiny insects and flies which are flying. So its mouth has to be sticky from the inside so that these insects and flies will stick to it without slipping outside. Long and pointed beak. Birds like kingfishers and storks have broad, long and pointed beaks. What do kingfishers do? Have you seen in any videos? They'll pick the fishes from the river or whatever water source it is flying above. So it needs long and pointed beaks. The beaks help them to catch fish from the river and ponds for their food. The next is broad and flat beak. Birds like ducks, cranes and geese have broad and flat beaks. Why do they have broad and flat beak? Because they have to, eat the tiny vegetation that's present in the water. They mostly live in the water, right? They need to eat the seaweeds and all. So for that, their beaks are broad and flat. The beaks have tiny holes called shovels at the sides. See, even in this picture, we're able to see the tiny holes at either sides, right? So they are called as shovels. Okay, we are done with feathers and then the types of beaks. Now we are going to learn about feet and claws. The claws of a bird help them to walk, swim and climb. Perching birds. Sparrows, miners, and crows sit on trees and wires by gripping in the branch or wire. So you have seen the crows sitting on the wires, no, transformed wires. How do they sit? They'll just grip tightly. So that's called as perching. Even on the trees when they sit, they just hold the branches very tight. The front three fingers are used like our normal fingers, and the other finger at the back of the leg is used as the thumb finger. So they clutch the barks of the trees very tightly. Climbing birds. Woodpecker use their toes to climb trees. So woodpecker lives in trees, right? They need to peck the trees. For that they need to climb the trees. So their toes help them to climb the trees. It helps them to hold on to the tree while climbing without falling. Flesh-eating birds. So eagle, vulture, and hawk have strong and sharp claws called talons. So usually eagle and vulture and hawk, they fly at a very high distance. When they see their prey, they come down, and while flying itself, they have to pick up the prey with their feet. So they need sharp and strong claws to clutch the prey without falling down. These help them to catch live prey like toads, rats, and small birds. Scratching birds. Birds like hens and roosters have strong legs with 3 toes in front and 1 toe at the back. So what do hens and roosters do? We have seen many hens and roosters, right? So what do? They scratch the ground, right? Why do they scratch the ground? They look for little worms to feed on. So they scratch the ground. For that they require strong legs. Wading birds. Heron and crane have long legs with spread out toes. So what do the spread out toes do? These spread out toes prevent the birds from sinking into the mud in a pond. The mud in a pond will be very damp, so we'll be sinking into that. But this spread out toes helps them to hold on tight to the mud. The next is swimming birds. Duck and goose have webbed feet. What does a webbed feet look like? See this cute duckling, floating on the water. See, she has the front 3 legs are webbed. They are connected with each other with a thin layer of skin, and the back toe is free. So this is called as a webbed feet, right? This skin helps them to push water back while swimming. So they act like an oar in a boat to push the water back to move forward. And the next is the place where they stay, nesting. Birds build nests to lay eggs. What do they build nests for? To lay eggs. Different birds make different kinds of nests. Even the nests are not the same. They have different nests to make. First one is the woodpecker nest. So we have learned previously, right? What do the woodpeckers do? They peck the trees and climb on the trees. So obviously they live in the holes that they made with their beak. Okay? This hole is their nest. Eagle and vulture nest. The eagle and vulture make nests by gathering a few sticks. We have to see the picture. See, it's full of sticks. Simply putting them together in the shape of a shallow cup. Just to sit on it like a shallow cup, they make the nest with the sticks. Weaver bird's nest. This nest is very artistic, because the weaver bird uses grass, twigs and leaves to weave a nest with its beak, with only an opening underneath. So it will enter only from below. tailor bird's nest. Why this bird is called as tailor bird? Do you want to know the reason? So this is the reason that this bird stitches two leaves together to make a nest. How does a bird stitch two leaves? They use their beaks as needles, and whatever they get, the wool, the grass, whatever they get, they use them as the thread into the needle, and they stitch the leaves together. Very interesting, right? And then comes the kingfisher and shelduck. Kingfisher and shelduck dig long tunnels and then deposit their eggs in them. So they dig tunnels on the land and they deposit in their eggs in them. And the tunnels are very long so that the other birds or animals cannot reach to it. Pigeons and sparrows' nest. Pigeons and sparrows build their nests on window edges, ventilators, and even on ceiling fans with leaves, dry grass, and twigs. So these pigeon and sparrows, we can see their nests all over our home, and they'll say, do not, disturb the sparrow's nest. We'll see it at our home, like upon the bureau, or on the ceiling fan. Wherever they get a place, they just build a nest. And then penguin's nest. Where do the penguins live? They live in cold places like Arctic places. Penguins make their nest on the ground with a few stones or pebbles. They use stones and pebbles and they make their nest on the ground. Why do they make their nests on the ground? Because as we know, penguins cannot fly. So they cannot go up to a tree and build their nest there. That's why they build their nest on the ground. So what have we seen so far? We have seen about how do the birds fly, the feathers of the bird, the beaks of the bird, the feet and claws of the birds, and then finally the nesting of the birds. So we are going to learn some D words as we are coming to the end of the lesson. So shall we go into the D words? The first word, how do we spell it? Feathers. F-E-A-T-H-E-R-S. Feathers. Repeat once again. F-E-A-T-H-E-R-S. The next word is wings. W-I-N-G-S. W-I-N-G-S. Wings. Upstroke. U-P. Up. S-T-R-O-K-E. Stroke. Upstroke. U-P. S-T-R-O-K-E. Upstroke. Downstroke. D-O-W-N. Down. S-T-R-O-K-E. Stroke. Downstroke. Hooked. H-O-O-K-E-D. Hooked. How do we spell it? H-O-O-K-E-D. Hooked. Curved. C-U-R-V-E-D. Curved. C-U-R-V-E-D. Curved. Chisel. C-H-I-S-E-L. Chisel. C-H-I-S-E-L. Chisel. Shovels. S-H-O-V-E-L-S. Shovels. S-H-O-V-E-L-S. Claws. C-L-A-W-S. Claws. C-L-A-W-S. Perching, P-E-R-C-H-I-N-G. P-E-R-C-H-I-N-G. Perching. Talons, T-A-L-O-N-S. T-A-L-O-N-S. Talons. Scratching, S-C-R-A-T-C-H-I-N-G. Scratching. S-C-R-A-T-C-H-I-N-G. Scratching. Wading, W-A-D-I-N-G. W-A-D-I-N-G. Wading. Web, W-E-B. W-E-B. Web. Woodpecker, W-O-O-D. Wood, P-E-C-K-E-R. Pecker, W-O-O-D. Wood, P-E-C-K-E-R. Pecker. Woodpecker. Weaver bird, W-E-A-V-E-R. Weaver, B-I-R-D. Bird, W-E-A-V-R. W-E-A-V-E-R. Weaver, B-I-R-D. Bird. Weaver bird. Tailor bird, T-A-I-L-O-R. Tailor, B-I-R-D. Bird, T-A-I-L-O-R. Tailor, B-I-R-D. Bird. Tailor bird. Kingfisher, K-I-N-G. King, F-I-S-H-E-R. Fisher, kingfisher, K-I-N-G. F-I-S-H-E-R. Kingfisher. So we have come to the end of the D words. I hope you've all learned to spell the words. Okay, now shall we do an activity for this lesson? So what are the steps to follow? Step 1. Collect feathers of any 5 birds. Any 5 birds, from them you have to collect their feathers. Just one. Okay, you need not just go and pluck them out of this bird, but just collect them where they fall off. Okay, and then take a chart and neatly paste the feathers one by one. Step 3. What do you have to do? Write the names of the birds to which the feathers belong. And then step 4, mention the place where it lives. For example, if it's a crow, you have to mention it lives in a nest, that is on the trees. Okay? So children, I hope you've all enjoyed this lesson. It was very enjoyable teaching you, sharing you the knowledge about the birds. So stay home, stay safe, and learn along with us. Happy learning!